Well, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Sin Beyond and Through with Monty. By now, I'm sure that everyone has heard about the case of 23-year-old Lauren Smith Fields, the Bridgeport, Connecticut young lady who was found deceased in her apartment after meeting an older white male on the dating app Bumble. But I don't necessarily want to talk about this particular case because I've done a video on this already. What I do want to shed light on and talk about are the comments that have been left under her YouTube page and under the different pages in the comment sections by presumably black men. And I say presumably because you cannot really tell by their avatar. And I do say presumably because what a lot of people may not be aware of is that you do have a lot of people and forces who are not black, whose job is to divide and conquer, who would take situations like this and pretend that they are in fact black men, when in fact they are not. So there are forces out there who wish to divide black people, play black people against each other, and to create this little mini war within the black community. That being said, I'm not going to be ignorant of the fact that many of these comments are from black men. But what I want to talk about and relay is that they are very much unnecessary. And the reason why is because they're based upon the assumption that she was a swirler. And there is no proof to that. There's no proof that she was within the divestment movement. And there's no proof that she hated or disliked or was antagonistic towards black men. These are just all assumptions based upon because it was an older white male involved. Now, before I go on with that, which I'm going to relay this all together, I want you to take a look at this.
Alright, can I say something? Look. Now
Go
listen,
ahead,
she had to say, she just, since all our black women supposed to be protected, man, why the hell she siding with the white man to get me locked up? Because I got aggravated. I got aggravated and cussed their ass out. That's just it. I don't give a fuck what I said. Yeah, I said some crazy shit. Yeah, I know. It sounds crazy. You know what? People hate what they put out. You put out a lot of hurt, and guess what? When a motherfucker like me come through and say some shit, that's some next level shit. Oh, y'all black women real hurt now, huh? Now y'all feel how us black men feel, and we gotta hear y'all try to ruin our self-esteem all day. Instead of just they got it, they gonna get it. Y'all never say that. Y'all ain't got no motherfucking faith. Y'all don't. So I'm aggravated with the shit, and I'm pretty sure every other black man aggravated with it, man. You know what I'm saying? So how as black men, we gotta just build ourselves up. We gotta build ourselves up. How you gonna tell us to get rid of the white man and you talking about white laws?
Okay, that was a rapper who goes by the name Space Ghost Perk, and he issued a threat later in the year towards YouTuber Cynthia G. As you know, she has animus towards black men, and she has been known to say very venomous things, very hateful things towards black men, which elicited a response from Space Ghost Perk. And as he had mentioned, when you put things out there like that, you can't expect to get a response like his. Because a lot of people are going to take things very personal and take things to heart. And when you have a son, like she has, from what I understand, you have to understand that things you put out there, you're putting your children's or child's life in danger. So you're not only putting yourself in danger, but you're putting immediate family members in danger for things which are very unnecessary. But I put them up there just to show you that we don't need to take responses this far in terms of like threatening a YouTuber who happens to be pro-swirler, who happens to be divestment, who happens to be not for black on black love. And we definitely do not have to leave hateful comments under someone who had just passed away, who we think maybe is into the divestment movement. There's no need to do that because I'm going to show you why. Cynthia G has had a problem with her. She has had a problem with Cynthia G. Cynthia G has had a problem with her. She's had a problem with her. She's had a problem with her. She's had a problem with her. To the point where there was talk about a lawsuit. There was a on air, I guess a call-in or whatever, where reportedly one of them was threatening the other. One of them threatened to release information that they knew about the other. It just went messy. It was extremely messy, back and forth from two grown women who are both into the divestment swirling movement. One thing that you will clearly see about these women right here is that they do not even get along with each other. So if they do not get along with each other, of course they're not going to really get along with black men. But I want to say one thing. These women tend to be at war all the time and through the years with other black women. They do not be at war, I've noticed, with white women or with Hispanic, Latino women, with Asian women. All of who can be very racist and prejudiced towards black women. But not Harriet, by the way. Harriet had, I guess, some type of beef with Chrissy. And they had a beef going on there for a while. Some of these women I used to follow. I don't anymore. Their messages got very toxic. They got to the point of where they were taking on white supremacist rhetoric, completely generalizing all black men, putting them into a basket or a bucket, pretending like the actions of a few reflected the actions of all. And they would never do that with white men. And I'm talking about the swirlers, the divestors. They tend to separate white men and the things in which they do. And these women I've noticed too is that these women do not have a love or respect for black women. They're not driven by a desire to love, uplift, and unify and heal the wounds of black women. No, that's not what they're there for. They are driven by their hurt, their anger, their disappointment, and sometimes hatred of black men. So therefore, we're talking about a negative on a negative on a negative on a negative. We're talking about toxicity into toxicity into toxicity. And that just breeds evil. Now, many of these women had a dislike for the attitude of like a Carrie Hilson, who just simply stated that my soulmate is black. And they turned on her for that. And what they started saying was that, Well, she's limiting her options, is what they claimed. She's limiting her options. But all of those women would tell you that they are practicing hypergamy. Well, if you're practicing hypergamy, aren't you too limiting your options? So this is just to tell you that, no, they are not for the uplifting of black women. Many of them are just driven. They're completely driven by their disillusion. It's a disillusioned hatred of black men. And I want to talk about good versus evil. There was a question that came up years ago, and the question was, if there was a battle between good and evil, wouldn't evil win because evil can be deceitful, cunning, manipulative, vengeful, and full of lies? And the question to that would be, no, evil cannot win because it takes a lot more energy to be evil. And with being evil, it is subject from destruction even among its own ranks. Now remember that. Here's a young lady to the left there, and she wrote this. Crystalline is always unhinged from day one, as are most of the black women who follow Chrissy and Crystalline. Some of you appear to have a guest that comes along with feeling that you are not chosen by the man you claim to not want. The black women didn't mind her being unhinged until she got with a black dude. I would explain that. Then you all turned on her. Most times before you turn on each other. Are some of our men toxic? Yes, however, what needs to be understood is that there seems to be far more toxicity in your universe if you have to believe YouTube. None of this is funny, it's sad. And I think I missed a part in the middle. But it says that, and the black woman didn't mind her being unhinged until she got with the black man, and then you all turned on her. Most black men understand that it is only a matter of time before you turn on each other. See that right there? They turn on each other. And that's pretty much what has happened. These women among themselves cannot get along with each other. They have a very difficult time getting along with other black women. All of them have had beef at one point, at one time, with one another. None of these women right here are going to get a decent white man that they're hoping for. And the reason why I say that, because no decent white man with good energy is going to want to be connected to their toxic energy. They're too negative. They're too unhinged. They're too toxic. They generalize. The only type of white men who are going to be attracted to that is going to be a racist white man. And I say that because he's already toxic. He's already negative. He will get with the black female to try to prove to himself that he's not racist, that he's tolerable, he's of some good, or can provide some good to a black person somehow. So black men, there's no need to be threatening these types of women. There's no need to wish hatred upon these women. There's no need to go to anyone's pages, dead or alive, and leave hateful messages. These women don't even like each other. They don't even get along. They're not looking out for the good of black women. They're not looking out for the betterment of black women. They're solely driven by their hatred and dislike of black men. And they have a lot of healing and a lot of growing to do. But as of right now, when you're in that state in which they are in, they are very miserable women Because whenever they see black on black love, they surely are not happy about that. Whenever they see a black woman like Carrie Hilson who expresses a desire for black men, which is the majority of black women, they're not happy about that. The vast majority of black women are not going along with their agenda. And by them hating on black men or having a disdain or dislike for black men, it's not going to bring a white man any closer to them. It's not going to bring the white man any closer to them. It's not going to bring a decent black man closer to them because their reputation is known. And the only thing in which they are doing is fueling a toxic environment among black people because they're not teaching or trying to help people to judge others, or black men in particular, as individuals. We're being judged as a group mentality. And that type of group mentality is a white supremacist point of thinking, where they pit all of you into a barrel and you're all the same regardless, just because you're black. So black men are all the same just because they happen to be male. Whether they are gay, whether they're straight, whether they're married, unmarried, it doesn't matter. As long as they're a black male, they qualify to be into their bucket. And that means that the actions of a few, we're going to hold all accountable for that. And if that is not toxic behavior, I don't know what is. So remember about good and evil. No, they're not winning. They're very much defeated. They're in a very defeated state right now. And since they're in that defeated state, do not bring yourself into their judgment. Allow them to wallow into their misery alone. And with that, ladies and gentlemen, that is another edition of Sin Beyond and Through with Monty, and I will see you all beyond and through.